All right, it is Thursday, July 10th at 6:30 p.m. and this is a meeting of the Lakeville Agricultural Commission. Is anyone else recording this meeting other than LakeCAM? Hearing none, I will assume no. No, nobody else is recording this meeting other than LakeCAM. We have present tonight, we'll go from this side of the table over. Identify yourself, please.
Cindy Barber.
Joan Gladwin Morton.
Paul Hunt.
Hank Van Laarhoven.
Okay. We haven't met in some time. We do have a few things on the agenda that need to be discussed. First up is the discuss and vote to elect a chairperson or a vice chairperson and clerk. Who might be interested other than myself?
I nominate Paul Hunt to be the chair of the AgCom.
Paul Hunt respectfully does not want to be the chair of the AgCom. Paul Hunt has a full plate these days.
Yes, he does.
Is anybody else interested in the chair and the
Vice Chair.
vice chair?
Guys?
I'm not good at it. I would rather not.
You'd rather not have
rather
anybody
not.
else to do it.
Yep. That's difficult.
And from what Tracy told me, we can get a vice chair or a clerk. We only have to have 2 officers.
Okay,
As I understand it, we don't have to have 3.
okay,
It might help.
okay.
Hank, what about yourself?
Say again?
What about you? Are you interested in continuing, or, because you've been recording, correct?
I've done recording, yeah.
Yeah, minutes. Would you be interested in chairing?
I can't hear you.
Would you be interested in being the chair?
Maybe the Vice Chair.
Okay. But we have to do chair first, right?
We do. We do.
There's an impasse here.
I think maybe before we vote in this chair and vice chair, that we ought to go over the things that we intend on doing.
Well, we kind of have to follow the routine here, and we have to
Okay.
make the establishment of what's going on.
All right, as far as being a chairman, I don't know that you guys would want me to be chairman, because I'm really not for starting a food a market.
Okay,
My thoughts on this are to try to figure out and connect with the farmers and see.
well, we have to, before we go off onto that tangent, we
Yeah.
kind of have to stay here on
on
the
this.
election of
Oh, okay, I'm
officers.
sorry.
All right. All right. I'll accept your nomination. You guys can explain it to my wife that I accepted that. And
I'll call her.
you can deal with Kim.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
So somebody has to nominate me, somebody has to second it, and then we have to take
But
a
I
vote
nominate
on it.
Paul to be chair of the AgCom.
I second the nomination for Paul's chair.
Okay. Thank you, I think.
Do we vote?
We have to vote, Barbara, I
Okay,
type of deal going down.
okay.
All right. So
So I say the whole thing?
just say your last name
Okay.
and I.
Barber, aye.
Gladwin Morton, aye.
Hunt abstain.
Hank Van Laarhoven, aye.
Okay. All right. So I guess I'm the chairman. Anybody interested in being the clerk?
I'll-
The clerk and/or vice chair.
Clerk,
It could
okay.
be, as Tracy mentioned.
Okay,
It doesn't
so,
have
so
to
is
be-
anybody interested in being the vice chair and/or clerk?
Okay, that's, all right. I'll volunteer for that.
All right, I nominate Hank Van Lahoven as the vice chair of the AgCom.
I second.
Barber, aye.
Gladys Gordon, aye.
Hunt, aye.
Hank abstain.
All right, now that that's out
Okay.
and done, next up is the review of the paperwork given to us by the Cranberry Growers Association, making a notification that we have a family in town, Alan and Donna Rink of Nemasket Cranberry, have notified us that they were granted an agricultural covenant by the Commonwealth as they have participated in the Department of Agricultural Resources Farm Viability Enhancement Program. They have put 138 acres in protection at 45 Southworth Street. They did support it with the maps and the notes and so forth. So it looks like they've done a big service to everybody in ensuring that their property is going to remain agricultural moving forward.
That was a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we would very much like to thank the family. I know the Rinks and the Thomases and everybody in Nemasket Cranberry have done a nice job. You know, very supportive of the town and the town's endeavors, and it's great that they have decided to throw this into a protected status. So that's excellent to
Good for
hear.
them. That's a wonderful thing
That's
to
great.
do.
Yeah.
Should we acknowledge that as a commission? Just kind of say,
Yeah,
gee,
would-
thanks for doing it?
Yeah, it
for
would
the
be
town."
nice if we could get a letter out to them notifying them of our acknowledgement of what they've done and thanking them for doing it. At the select board the other night, I know that everybody was in attendance to hear the Growers Association presentation, and I thought that was very nice, what they put on.
Very nice.
Cranberry growers.
Well done.
They did a real nice job educating people and continuing to educate people. And as the town continues to grow and as the town continues to have homes built closer to agricultural sources, it's nice to know that they have our backs as far as you know, helping with the education and moving on. Hi.
Hey, Crystal.
How you doing?
Can I jump back really quickly to the Nemasket Cranberry?
Sure.
We talked about sending out some information, not information, sending out like a thank you and acknowledgement of what they've done.
Yep.
And how are we going to go about doing that? Who does that?
Would likely be the chairman would end up
Okay.
doing something like that, so
Thank you, Chairman.
I'll put a note to myself that I'm now ready. Unless, of course, Crystal was
No,
really
no.
interested in being chairman or vice chairman of this commission. We already voted me in, but
Did you?
yeah.
No,
Okay.
didn't. You got it.
Okay, all right, thank,
It was 6:30, right?
Thank-
So I'm not
thank-
that late?
yeah, you're not doing too bad.
Okay, phew, good, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That's my question.
All right. So the next thing to discuss is the ongoing role of the AgCom. What do we think we're going to be doing moving forward? Any thoughts? As I said, although we haven't met and we haven't had really anything going on since COVID hit us, I have been acting as a bit of the AgCom by relocating roosters, continuing that trend here in town, and they continue to go to a very welcoming farm in Acushnet.
Same guy.
The same guy, and his neighbors must be the most patient people in the world, because there is an eclectic assortment of roosters on that property, and you know that it's predominantly roosters when you arrive there, and the amount of noise they start to make.
Okay.
So he's got some great neighbors and continues to help us out
Good guy.
by doing that.
So we see that as an ongoing role.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
we could-
it's something that the commission is needed to do, so that it would fall to someone else.
Well, initially, it was done, that was part of the service, that if there was complaints in town or there was things going on, that somebody from the AgCom would meet with people and try and explain to them what goes on related to agriculture. It's just predominantly been rooster complaints have been the issues that seem to come forward. We haven't really had anything else. Some of the larger farms in town that, maybe were busier in years past with pigs and so forth, are not active anymore. And so we don't have the issues that come with the smells associated with. We haven't really had, the cranberry market has kind of dipped a little bit. There hasn't been a lot of complaints about, cranberry equipment and things like that recently. But, as part of the ongoing role now, Hank, you started to discuss the farmer's market and that end of things, so.
Well, my thoughts are that we should go forward and maybe do a little letter to the farmers in the town
Okay,
and see what they would feel would help from our end of it.
okay. So, I mean, I don't know that there's anything more that we would be looking to do now as far as the ongoing role for the AgCom, that we're not going to cover in the next couple things on the agenda
Okay.
here. Plus, I do have some new business that came up. I did receive an email, and I'll discuss that shortly. As far as new business, before we get to the old business, I received an inquiry from John Gregory in town regarding whether or not the AgCom would have any interest in assisting with the starting up of a food co-op in town. He did highlight a portion of our mission statement in the email that he sent about promoting agricultural-based economic opportunities in education. Several people were CC'd in this, and we did have a couple other people jump on the email chain, so I'll share that. I only have a couple copies, so you can take a quick peek at it. But I think that kind of would tie into some of the other things that we've discussed in town, as far as rolling into the old business with the farmers market and things like that. I think some form of a food co-op would not be a bad, not be a bad plan at all.
And I'm sorry, I don't know John. Is he a grower?
Nope, John is a resident in town that resides on Bartelli Road.
Okay.
and he has recently attended a couple of the select board meetings for other directions. He's big right now on promoting good building uses, meaning electricity and so forth, and not draining too much of the town's resources on trying to operate inefficient old systems, and looking at getting newer systems and updating things like that. So he's on that end. But it does tie in. I think something like that could tie into the farmer's market and so forth. We did have a discussion, and I have to follow up with the veterans agent in town. There was talk that they were looking for a plot of land where the veterans community could start a gardening project. And I think that a veterans gardening project would tie nicely into a farmer's market and food co-op. I think that would be a really good plan. So I need to talk to the veterans agent a little further on that. I did speak with Andrew Sueforth on that the other day. That was also what he had heard, that the veterans agent was talking about that and didn't have an issue with me now in either role stepping forward and asking Christine what her thoughts were. So I'll meet up with her at some point in time and see what direction they're looking at there. But if anybody, it's going to be a little bit early, I think, but if somebody knew of a parcel of land that would be accessible for that type of operation, or had any thoughts on where.
Is there any land for that at Betty's Neck?
I was just gonna say that, or Ted Williams.
Yeah, that Ted Williams is going to tie in the park commission, as to where something like that could be operated. Betty's Neck, of course, would tie in the APC to see where if something could be operated there.
Because I just wonder with Ted Williams being more handicap accessible than Betty's Neck.
I think,
If that.
yeah, I think that would be more accessible. I would also have a little bit of a concern with the fact that it's so far off the beaten path. You don't know if somebody chose to have ill intent and go out and ruin somebody's gardening. That could happen. Not that it couldn't happen at the camp either. With unattended kids or somebody just having a bad plan. But I think that it's a good idea, and it's a good thought process to maybe see if we can get all that stuff going in one fell swoop. So I'll meet up with the veterans agent. We'll talk about that a little bit more, and we'll.
Is that Chris Plonka?
No.
Chris isn't the veteran?
No. Christine, and her last name escapes me right now.
Boom.
Yeah. Do we have any update on the right to farm signs?
We do.
Okay.
Lorraine has all the information, the sign design, which is, we chose F.
Okay.
I gave Lorraine the sign, the quote from the place that will make the signs, and a list of the places in Lakeville where I thought the sign should be, and it's on the next select board meeting, whenever your next meeting is. When I saw Lorraine the night, she said it's on our next select board meeting.
All right, which would be our next big meeting
Tracy
is
has
in
all the
August.
info too, so you
Okay.
can get the info from either Tracy or Lorraine if you want to look at it, or I can email it to you.
Okay. So very similar to the style
Like
sign that
Rochester,
Rochester has.
exactly.
So they would be, I think that they've notified us that there's maybe 8 points in town that they would be interested in putting signage. And if I remember correctly in a previous discussion, the Purple Heart signage and the Right to Farm signage are gonna be pretty close together.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
right.
So,
Nice.
so the town is gonna be known as a Purple Heart town as well as Right to Farm. And people passing through or returning home will have that visible to them. Also on old business and I know I had discussed this by email a couple times with people, but now we'll get this out at the board. We had previously had a fund for whatever we thought might be needed for the AgCom. Early on, we thought that may be for the signage. We thought we were gonna have to buy the signs for the town and so forth. When that Friends account was started, it was started using my social security number on that account. In hindsight, not the brightest thing I've ever done in my life. And then with the inception of some other businesses that I'm involved in, I made the determination that I no longer wanted my social security tied to the AgCom's funds. So I did close that account on December 31st, and there is $255 in that account. We have a money order from Eastern Bank that is good until it isn't on that account. So something has to be done with this. It was my intent, as I announced, I was not going to accept being a chair, and I was just going to be a member of the AgCom. I was going to hand this off to whomever and walk away and just show up at meetings, but I got roped into being a chairman. That's on the record. So we have to make a decision as to what we're gonna do with that at some point in time. And I will gladly hand that over to the vice chair for him to keep an eye on it now.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
All right.
That,
just for security purposes,
Yeah.
Hank, you're in charge of it for that. And I get the Marines at the gate, so we'll keep you in charge of that.
Are we gonna open up another account?
That's open for discussion
Okay,
as to
Yeah, nice.
what might happen with that,
okay.
you know, and so we can have thoughts on that. And it's not something that has to be decided tonight,
No, I just
but,
didn't know.
but it's something that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we have some money that we have to do something with.
Right.
And, you know, if you want to start a fund under a different name and do it maybe the right way and get a tax ID number and do that, that would certainly be a good plan.
Well, in light of all these, the veterans, planting space and the possibility of a food co-op, it might be nice to be able to utilize some of that Friends money toward something for the community
Yep.
down the road, so.
We may end up having at some point in time to purchase a banner or something like that that identifies that, you know, this event or this particular thing is sponsored by the Lakeville AgCom or is endorsed by the Lakeville AgCom. We may find that, you know, somebody doesn't have the funding to do something, you know, we may end up buying a couple tables for the farmer's market to be used, you know, something like that to promote it. But, so, we know that the vice chair has the $255, and we're on the record with that. Go
through
ahead.
the chair.
Yes.
I have a question. Is the town going to give us any money as part of like agricultural, or could we get any money from parks?
We were notified early on that we were a board, but not really a board, and that we weren't entitled to anything from the town. We would not have a budget. We had the town support that we would be on a town website, that we could use a town box at the town hall for correspondence, but there would be at no time in the foreseeable future would we have a budget or anything like that. That was the purpose behind the inception of the Friends, so that we could have a couple dollars in a coffer in case we needed something. But then COVID hit, we didn't need anything, and everything sat. We didn't raise any more money. We didn't meet, so we were kind of in a tight situation. But now that we are meeting again, and we have been reinvigorated.
Okay.
You know,
All right, maybe I could write some grants. I could look for some grants. And
yeah,
see
there
if they have
might be
anything.
something
Yeah.
like that. We have to, again, we probably have to have a few discussions with some of the interested parties to see what direction the Veterans Garden and the market, and now the thought of perhaps a co-op tied into it. You know, we'll see what direction that takes and maybe discuss it at a future meeting. We did have one more thing that is escaping me right now that I wanted to discuss. I really should take notes. Farmers market that would have fallen under old business. I lost it.
Oops.
It happens.
It does.
Just something I was thinking about, we were talking about farmers market, Veterans Garden, food co-op, and thinking about Ted Williams Camp. When we went to the park commission when we were talking about the farmers market before, and they were all on board to help AgCom with a farmers market at Ted Williams Camp. And they were really enthusiastic about it. It's
Okay.
probably a different group of people now, a few years later,
Okay.
but at one time they were really excited that they could help out with that. They had offered to use their signs on Precinct Street and Bedford Street to advertise whatever would be needed to do something like that. So hopefully they might still be enthusiastic.
Okay.
We'll see.
I can, again, I'll check with the park and see what the thought process is on that. Anything else that anybody can think of for?
There's a young lady in town that's interested in joining the board.
Okay,
Megan Young is her name. She lives on Forest Street, has a horse farm.
on what street?
In Forest, I believe.
Okay,
The street that comes out to 44. Is that Forest?
that's Cross Street, comes out on the 44 by, goes by the old driving range and so forth. That end comes off of Taunton Street
Yeah, yeah.
onto Cross Street. Yeah.
Maybe it's Cross.
Okay,
Forest is Cross Street.
okay, all right. Yeah, if she would like to attend a meeting,
Okay.
we'll pick a date tonight for the next meeting, and then if she wants to attend, I'm sure we can make that happen
Sure.
quickly. That would be great. What does does everybody's schedule look like in August?
Pretty open.
Do we want to try and keep a Thursday night at 6:30? Does that work?
Not the first, because I'm open space. But all the other Thursdays are open.
Not the
Not the
first
first Thursday.
Thursday of the month.
Right.
So you would be available on the 14th?
I would.
All right, so Crystal, does that work okay for you as well?
Yeah.
I think it
Committee's
does.
not till the 12th.
August 14th at 6:30, we would make that our next meeting, and we'll see if we can get a room for that.
Sounds good.
If we have nothing else to cover in old business, I would take a motion to adjourn.
In a second.
Second that.
Okay.
7:02.
All in favor of adjourning at 7:02?
Aye.
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 Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.